Howdy everybody, Chrissy here. Fall finally made it, which means a lot of us are going to be trimming our trees soon. So I thought today would be the opportune time to get out and show you how to make a slingshot. It's a fun little tool. A lot of people use them in the survival community. They were a favorite of ours as a kid to target shoot with. So things like that don't go out of style, you know what I mean? But yeah, if it's something you've been interested in making and you don't know how, stick with me. I'm going to show you how to get it done. So really, when you're making a slingshot, you just need a Y fork in a tree. You want symmetry, and I like to get something that's a little bit bigger than my thumb, or at least as big around as my thumb. This will work, but it's not a perfect shape. So I'm going to keep this in mind, but I like mine to be a little bit more symmetrical. And you're going to look to get something out of hardwood instead of soft. It'll serve you better. It'll last longer. But we're going to keep this one in mind. Alrighty guys, look at that beauty. Look at that symmetry. That's what you're looking for. So this is a maple, so I'm going to cut this off, take it home, and shape it up and show you what to do with it next. Alrighty, so just use the trusty Fiskars pruning saw. Took it down. I like to leave a little more room than I think I'll need. I'm going to end up cutting this much shorter, but I like to leave a little area to work with. And I'm just going to take it, trim these off, and when we get home we're going to shape it up how we want. Alrighty guys, we're back real quick. I've marked where I want to cut my slingshot out. There's no set in stone measurements here. You can have this as long or as short, as long as you can fit bands on it, just about as short as you want. But if you're nervous of hitting your fingers, you might want to start with a wider V or a longer V, but you're going to want a longer handle to accommodate that for more stability. When choosing where to make yours, see how this has got a natural bow? I'm going to want to pull against that so that my slingshot isn't likely to rock. So yeah, keep those things in mind and consider those when choosing where to cut your slingshot. But if you want to kind of go along with me, this is how I made my measurements. I hold mine about right here. So that's the minimum of as short as I can make it. And then just kind of go with your thumb. Right there, thumb. And mark it. And that's going to give you a pretty proportionate slingshot. So we're going to cut this out and I'm going to show you how to whip the bands on it. Alrighty guys, so you got your little V here. Now, the bark split on this one, so I'm going to just clean this up a little bit so it's pretty. Alrighty guys, so here it is all cleaned up. And all this is just cosmetic. You don't have to worry about that. I just wanted to make it look a little pretty. The only thing you need to focus on is softening those ends. Just taking your knife and just kind of knocking the edge off like this. Go all the way around and knock the edge off. And the purpose of that is to save your bands. Alrighty guys, so the bands are going to come over like this and back this way. So we need to make a little groove on each side right here, just so that when we tie off our bands, it has something to hold into. Come down about 1/4 of an inch. Get you something straight. Doesn't have to be perfect anyhow. And we're just gonna whittle out a little notch there. And you're going to be careful. If you put too much that way, you're going to blow the end out. So just take little tiny chunks like this. Are we in focus? Let's get in focus. Just take little tiny chunks. So now we're cutting our pouch. So come about 4 inches up on a piece of leather and then go about 1 inch tall. So 1 by 4. ish. Emphasis on the ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. Can eyeball this. This is just a shop apron. You really need leather if you can, but understand sometimes you don't have it. So, you know, find a really tough, rugged piece of material, like maybe a thick canvas might work, but leather is best. The reason I say about 3.5, 4 inches is so whenever you get a pinch, when you're pinching your ammo, you've got some room, because we're going to have to make holes to put the bands through there. Alrighty, so I don't have a hole punch. A hole punch would be ideal. So we're just going to fold it over right here. I'm going to nip it with the scissors and then just kind of ream it out. Science. It's a really terrible explanation of how I'm going to do this. And then fold it again and go this way. And that ought to give us like a little hole. Yeah, see? And just ream it out. And do that on both sides. Alright guys, so we got holes made on each side. Now we're just going to soften the corners just to make it look nicer. So this will help with the wind resistance too, but alrighty guys, so I've got this elastic band here, and I'm just gonna cut two 1-foot strips. You can always give yourself a little wiggle room if you're not sure. You can always take some off. Just come right up the middle. Alrighty guys, so come down just before or below your little groove. Put your zip tie in the groove. It's a little cumbersome, but I know it'll work. Make sure we're perfectly in the middle there and cinch it in. I think it's about as good as it's gonna go. Oh yeah, it's gonna be perfect. Perfect. Do both sides. Now just gather your bands up a little bit and kind of pull and kind of feel where you think, how long you think you need them. And yeah, I think these could use to come down about 2 inches on each side. Keeping in mind that I gotta get my pouch on this. Ready. So I'm gonna do this with my wire pliers so I can get a hold of that tube and pull it through. See? Like that. And that helps. You're gonna want to go overside in. This would be a little easier to see if it was a flat tube. Alright, we're gonna go like this. Fold it over. That. Pull it tight if you can, right before you put the zip tie down on it. Taking those pliers and pulling against it, that'll help you get a little bit more. Okay, so now we're gonna nip this corner off. Alrighty, so you've got one side of your pouch hung. Now you're gonna want to work this other side in. Again, we're gonna do the same method. Go from the inside of the pouch with the end of my pliers, or we can spread them open a little bit, outside of the pouch with the tube, grab a hold of it, and and then pull it through on this side. Okay. So at this point, you should look like this. Right? Now, you just want to make sure that your pouch is even. And that looks pretty darn even. Let's see. That looks pretty darn even. So we're gonna, again with the zip tie, oh yeah, that's gonna work a lot better. That tube was garbage. Inner tube. Alright, now you could clean these up just a little. I know they don't look as nice as having the flat ones there. So, just take a little bit off. A little bit off. Pretty snazzy. Now let's go see if we can't kill a can with it. Alrighty guys, we're gonna say that my hat is a squirrel. Alright, you guys see that? Squirrel, let's see. Let's see if I go hungry tonight. Hit it. I don't know if that would have been enough to kill it, but I hit it. Let's see. Probably won't do that again. Not ever. Let's see. Nope. I was way off. That squirrel would have got away. That one too. It's definitely got the power to get there though. That's good. There we go. Squirrel for dinner. Alrighty guys, finished product. It's not exactly what I wanted. I wanted the traditional black bands, but overall I think it's pretty snazzy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it at least a tiny bit. As always, thank you for supporting my channel. Take care of yourselves, guys. I hope to see you again next time.